Have we met?
Welcome back. We are Hello Carolina. This is Hello Earth. Glad you could join us. I'm going to throw an apology out the front of the gate here. I'm like in a post-hangover fog, even though it is a Thursday, and we're just going to do the best we can. But it was weird. I don't spend too many Wednesday nights drinking, and I wake up this morning and it's like the world had changed. I find out, I pull up X and I'm like seeing these posts. Since the last time we talked, this all happened, but Elon Musk and Trump have their falling out. Elon Musk basically just throws out that Trump's on the Epstein list and all that. And then I wake up this morning after being a little sloshed and it's like, oh, they're friends again. Everything's okay. And then I keep scrolling and it's like, wait, are we about to go to war with Iran? And it's like, what's happening?
Well, I do think that they only came back as friends because Kanye West brought them back together.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah, the ultimate negotiator between friendships there. But I honestly wonder if it wasn't like some kind of just stock pump that they were doing. Like,
probably.
I saw that when they had their falling out or whatever, that Tesla stock goes way down, and now it's right back up again. And it's just like, did y'all just put on a show just to like pump and dump again or whatever it's called? I'm not great on the stock terminology.
Well, I can say this as well. I've seen Trump get really salty about things. Mm-hmm. And he didn't seem genuinely salty about another billionaire that kind of threw him under the bus.
Yeah, but to be fair, he doesn't have that many conflicts with billionaires. You know, that's typically the people that are kind of up his alley. I think that's the people he speaks to the most.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess there's more pressure because I mean Elon Musk. I mean, think about him. Think whatever you want to about him. He's got a lot of sway, a lot of power in the country, you know, just even aside from Doge and all that stuff, he's got some of the biggest companies in the country. So, I mean, you kind of maybe have to tiptoe a little bit around it. But, yeah, I don't know what to think about that whole situation, honestly. It's just so weird. It's just so weird.
Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind.
Yeah. Especially just, I don't know. With everything else going on right now, too, I mean, it's so hard to understand why they would want to, like, get into the middle of this public spat and stuff like that. It's like, you both have better things to do than this. And I was like, how can anybody take y'all seriously? Like, I don't get it.
Did you see him basically right before they had a falling out? He was standing in there and he got like a key relic type key thing.
Yeah,
he was beat up.
Yeah, he had a black eye.
And from what I read, one of his sons punched him.
Yeah, his like toddler son. I guess they were like that was his story anyway. And there's another story that we'll get to, but the official narrative on that was that he was like playing with his son or something like that, and he looked
strung out, though. A lot of people were speculating that the job itself wore him out, or it could have been, I don't even know if this is true, but this is swirling around, too, that he takes, like, copious amounts of ketamine and all this other stuff, so who knows?
Yeah, he seems to have somewhat of a drug problem at the moment, which is, I mean, I don't know. I guess that would make sense out of some of the more erratic behavior lately. I mean, when he was a part of Trump's campaigns and stuff like that. Yeah, right. Yeah, like just acting like a child on stage. But I mean, also I've heard he has at least some form of autism or something, and that's what a lot of people point to is like, oh, that's why he's so strange. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that. But
yeah,
it's fascinating to see people at that level have like these high school spats almost like. But the other story, I can't remember who it was exactly, but there was a story that was rolling around that he actually got into like somewhat of an altercation with somebody at the White House that day. Like he shoulder checked somebody and then maybe got punched in the eye. But I mean, there's nothing to verify such a story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just wild out there. We got everything going on in LA, and I'm sure that's going to get worse. I mean, it's already spread to some other cities around the country, and I think it's hard to know how much it'll spread. Is it going to be like the George Floyd riots, which kind of took over the whole nation for a couple weeks? I don't know, man. I don't know. And everything online is just so divisive when it comes to those topics. And, you know, once again, I've said it before, but like nobody knows anything about what's going on because it's just so cloudy and there's so much noise. And like I said, you got this Elon and Trump spat, you got the Israel-Iran stuff, you got all that going on. It's like, what do you even pay attention to right now?
Yeah. It's hard to focus on anything in particular when there's so much to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to guess what's the more jarring piece of news, I feel like it's the LA stuff, but I mean, even with that, like the protests and riots, we're so domesticated to that happening that it's almost just like, oh yeah, this is another thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not to say that it hasn't happened for years and years. I mean, Tiananmen Square and the guy standing out in front of the tank and, you know, in the 60s, you know, hosing people. I mean, it's a thing. I feel like maybe it happens more now than it should. And I have my own theory as to why. And I'll just say it because I can say it quickly and we can move to something else. But I will say that I do, and I may have said this in the past, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but we are all just so connected. Everybody's a reporter. Everybody carries around a phone.
Yep.
So if you capture anything, especially around the race subject, not in particular the immigration thing, but everybody's a reporter. Mm-hmm. I think that really bad shit has been happening since the dawn of time. We just have the ability for everybody to see it happen now.
Right.
And fire up a lot more people very quickly.
Yeah, the level of awareness is through the roof anymore as far as all the cameras on the street. And I mean, like a lot of the stuff in LA, it's hard to know how serious to even take it because you have some people acting like LA's burning to the ground, and then you have some people like it's really not that bad, like it's, you know, a few people downtown. And I do see a lot of videos where like there will be protesters out, but then like you said, behind them are 2-3 times the amount of people that are just like holding up their phones and like the reporters and stuff like that. And it's
know the news is going to get on there and find the one car on fire and film that for like 24 hours. And then one crowd of people that are throwing rocks.
Right.
I'm not downplaying it at all. Like, please don't mistake that. But,
absolutely.
But I do know that if there's going to be something juicy going on, even if it's small and right over here in the corner and there's this large protest, the news media is going to get the camera on the juicy.
Right. And I mean, I know we weren't supposed to talk about this because of our CIA operative in the room, but it was just so alarming to hear that like the National Guard and the Marines were going to be out there. And as soon as that happened, all of the reporting kind of halted all at once, it seemed like, because I'm not seeing anything about it today on social media. I mean, I know it can't be over considering the scale of what it was. And I don't know. It's messy, but it's just terrifying that you got not just National Guard, but fucking Marines out there. Like, why is that necessary? I mean,
yeah, I've heard that. And, I also heard yesterday, and I don't even know if there's any truth to this. I mean, it sounds like a legitimate thing, but apparently that U.S. military doesn't really have any jurisdiction to place action on people domestically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't
if
think
that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't think they can like detain people or anything like that. I don't know the rules. I don't got the rule book.
Me neither.
But yeah, there seems like there should be at least some some line in the sand that they can't cross there. But
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's justified or not. I've never even been to LA. I don't know what it's really like over there. But you do see a lot of shit like outside of the riots and stuff like that. But you see like all the stores are always having to lock all their shit up, and you know it's I don't know what to make of it. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be thrilled to go to LA even on a good week. I mean, it's just such a strange place in comparison to where we're from, where everything's just so boring. Like there's nothing going on here.
It's a culture shock.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I go to Charlotte, I get frustrated.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just running into traffic, and LA is like 100 times bigger than Charlotte.
Yeah. And see, like, I don't mind being in a city, but yeah, it's like the travel. Yeah, the traffic and the traveling through cities is what's just so unnerving, because people are just fucking crazy anymore with the way they drive on interstates and stuff. And maybe I'm just a loser, I don't know, but like I'm not darting in and out of cars and stuff like that, and I just get so mad when I see people do it too. Yeah. It's like, well, I guess they're having fun, but I don't know. I just wish people weren't in such a fucking hurry. Not to sound like a 70-year-old man over here, but it's just
probably because the traffic's so bad, they're always behind.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of it, I'm sure. But I guess to kind of spin to something a little more lighthearted, have you seen this whole thing with Timbaland and his AI artist?
No.
And anything like that. So,
wait, what do you mean by AI artist?
I mean, I don't even really know. I have a lot of questions still about it. But Timbaland, there was an article in Rolling Stone that came out, I think last week, talking about he was signing what he calls an A-pop artist, which is, it's like this, I want to say it was like a Japanese teenage AI bot or something that is apparently going to make music with him. And
whoa, wait a minute. He signed on someone who is not a living human being.
see, that's kind of what the headline led you to believe, and I didn't read the article because they have a paywall on Rolling Stone. So I mean,
who pays for that?
Right, exactly. And I don't know. I've tried to look into it a little bit, and I don't think it's actually like a signing. I think that's just more or less what they were selling it as. But yeah, he's
like a bot artist.
Yeah, and he's working with it's a company called Suno, I think, and they're like a AI generation type of deal or something like that. And yeah, they've made a whole ass person to make music with Timbaland of all people, instead of, signing the next big artist from, the streets, actually helping real people out. It just frustrates the shit out of me and seems so frivolous too. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, that.
And I mean, I know there's, I've always been a little tight on what to use AI for, as far as like, art for the band or anything like that. I'm not real big into using it when there are plenty of people that you can hire. You can go on Fiverr and find 1 million real artists to make whatever you want for relatively cheap.
Yeah.
If you want to do something like that. But also I understand smaller artists, there's a kind of a barrier when it comes to what kind of resources they have available. If you're just starting your band and you don't have a lot of money to spend on that kind of stuff, then I'll forgive you for using AI generation on stuff, not in your music, but just for like the art side of things,
Sure.
the physical art. And I just think when you get to somebody like Timbaland, who has all the money and resources in the world to turn to something like this, when like with his platform, he could do so much good. And I mean, to be fair, he has. Like, he's brought a lot of artists up over the years, but it's just, I don't know. It just poisons your legacy at this point, I think, to get involved in some shit like this. And I don't know. And I guess it's a little bit closer to home as someone who, we do make music. So
Yeah.
to see people turning to, not people to get their music is just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I got some tunes for you. They're okay. I mean, they're not bad. And something that was frustrating about it was his response to everything was like, well, only mediocre artists are going to be threatened by this. And it's like, then what's the point of doing it if you're kind of self-admitting that you're making mediocre art with your AI bot, if that's the level that people should be worried about it? I don't know, man. It's frustrating.
That is such a strange thing for someone to do. I mean, I've seen stranger things done with AI, but
Yeah.
you're making up a fictitious artist. And I mean, like somewhere in the line, he sat down and said, I can't hire any good artists. I don't like anything I've heard. I'm just going to make up my own and pretend it and then cash all the checks for everybody that falls for fake music. I mean,
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't want to stand out and just say that it's completely fake, but I mean, if you're asking a AI engine to make this person up, that the person's not real, so that's fake.
Yeah.
And if you're asking them to make the music too, that's
Yeah.
also fake.
And-
It's
and
just
see-
kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what kind of usage he's getting out of it. I don't know if it's generating lyrics. I don't know if it's just him prompting a singing style or something like that, and then he feeds it. Like, he actually would create the beats and the lyrics and then just
Yeah.
gets this AI voice to, sing over the beat or whatever. Then, and if that's all it is, then
That's a little better.
It's a little better. I still think it's kind of lame when, once again, you could be actually helping people. But it's a little better. But if it's generating lyrics over his beats or anything like that, it's just like, what? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine it going that well. And I'm sure people are going to buy into the spectacle of it. And I'm sure it's going to be very popular for a minute because it will be just new. It'll be a new weird thing for people to soak up. But it's just weird, man.
I just really hope that does not become a thing. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's just he does that and everybody's perplexed with it. Mm-hmm. But I really, really hope that doesn't just become a thing.
Right. Yeah. I hope it's more of a fad, and I'm interested to see what kind of backlash he gets online from it all. But I mean,
Keep you posted.
Yeah.
Does he have an artist? Does this fake person have an artist name?
Tata, I think.
Tata.
Yeah. I believe is what the name of it is, right? What feels a little on the nose, I guess, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of backlash he has from it and to learn a little bit more about what he is doing. I've seen some pretty notable people in music just essentially say that, it's Timbaland. We got to trust him because he does all the good things. And I mean, I don't know. I like Nelly Furtado as much as anybody else, I guess, but that's all I really know him for, honestly. Like, I know he's worked with like Justin Timberlake and some other pop stars, and this is my ignorance on Timbaland showing a little bit, but it's just not something I'm really plugged into. But yeah.
Well, maybe what we should do is before the next pod, we'll make our own fake artists and fake music, and then we'll put them to battle here in the pod and let people vote on which one's better.
Dude, yeah, we can just release like an album of diss tracks from an AI artist to his AI artist.
But they all has to be about how much the concept of having an AI artist is a terrible idea.
Right,
Like,
it's got to be very meta.
yeah,
But yeah, it's
because I don't want to support the cause.
No. Well, I mean, we're not propping anything up like in that way. I mean, I don't know.
We got a
Once again-
huge social media reach, bro.
right? So huge,
Yeah, it's so huge.
large. But yeah. Once again, it's just I'm gonna be plugged into this a little bit just because I am interested to know what people at large think about it. But I mean, I could totally see people just riding along with it. Honestly, I mean, people don't care, and then pop music. I once again, I'm not super plugged into pop music, but it's not like there's a whole lot going on there anyway. I mean, if you can sell the public people like I don't know, like Ice Spice and Florida Georgia Line and shit like that, then I think you can probably sell them just about anything.
For what it's worth, he produced Pony by Genuine.
Oh, I mean,
My saddle, riding.
And the bulk of his and Missy Elliott's first LPs, apparently.
yeah, I mean, I know he's got to where he is some way or another. It's just not my thing.
This even further says that it's not my thing. What are some of his hit songs, like his big songs?
I mean, the one that I know him from was, I think it's called like Promiscuous. That was the Nelly Furtado song.
Promiscuous Girl.
Promiscuous Girl.
He's mainly a producer, though. He does more producing than anything.
Okay, I got you. I mean, the name's very familiar, and I've heard the name a lot, but just wasn't 100% sure, like, his exact music.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. But another thing I've noticed this week is I don't know if backlash online is going to amount to anything, because I think artists are starting to use backlash as like a marketing tool, I think, honestly. I've noticed this most recently with Lil Wayne's new album. It came out, and I mean, I'm not a huge Lil Wayne fan. I like some of his older stuff. But I started seeing on TikTok, like every other post, like, oh, this is so bad. It's trash. And I've noticed this with other bands before. There was another band a year or so ago called Lawrence. And once again, it's just the same thing. Like everybody on TikTok and Instagram is just talking about how bad it is, and it's usually a lot of the same talking points and stuff like that, which led me to believe like maybe this is more of a industry plant hatred of some sort.
So you're thinking like reverse psychology almost?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, that's seeing all those videos. I went and listened to the album because I was like, surely it can't be this bad. What's going on? And it's not that bad. Like it was a pretty good album. There's one song on there called like Peanuts to an Elephant, I think. And it's got like a Donkey Kong type beat in a way. That's kind of what it sounds like. And you know, I'm a fan of Donkey Kong. That's cool with me. So maybe I'm just more willing to accept a beat that kind of sounds like an old video game like that. But yeah, according to these people that I've never seen before their posts about how much they hated the album, it's like the worst thing on this planet. And I don't know what to even believe anymore. And I guess it's an interesting marketing tool because it works, I guess, to some extent. But
maybe we need to go around and talk about how bad our music is.
Right. Well, see, I think we have to like start paying like.
Oh, and we got to get influencers. Okay,
yeah, we got to get some influencers. I don't know, maybe not even influencers, because like a lot of what I've noticed is these are smaller accounts and stuff, which maybe provides a certain layer of subterfuge to any supposed marketing that could be going on here. But I don't know. Let's just find like a bunch of teenagers and 20-something-year-olds and give them like $20 to make a TikTok about how much we suck.
Yeah,
I think this is the way. Give them some talking points and whatnot. But
I mean, even in the back to the AI thing at work, it's my day job. It's used as an sort of a bionic type of. I'm trying to think of the right word, and I've explained this a few times, but I use it as sort of like a mentor in some cases,
right?
Or just like someone to bounce something off.
Yeah.
It's not to just say, "Hey, do my job."
Yeah.
I'm saying this is. I start learning to talk to it like it's a person.
Yeah.
And
I think that's kind of like just a natural thing with people because, I mean, these are like language models and they talk to you like they're a person. And I think it's kind of it's just a natural response for us to be the same way to them.
And I'll approach it like this. I'll say, this is what I'm working on right now. This is my project. Mm-hmm. This is what I've done. I've done this, and this. but I'm a little stumped. Is there something that I'm missing here?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
ask them really challenging questions.
Right.
And I'll say like, I'll give it like something ridiculous. Like give me 10 other options that I haven't thought of.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
in all reality, there's only going to be like one, maybe two good thoughts behind them.
Right.
It's something that helped me along the way. And I've noticed this shift, and this is kind of business talk a little bit, but for any parents that have kids that are like, I don't know, in high school and starting to think about their careers, I really don't think, unfortunately, I don't think AI is going to go anywhere. I can't imagine that it does. I think the only problem they're running into right now is like how much energy it uses.
Yeah, I've read a lot about that too. Like, kind of going back to your point of talking to them like they're people, I saw something talking about how there's been millions and millions of like water that they've had to use on these data centers because people say please and thank you to it, and there's like a specific cost that they've calculated from just those individual messages going through.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting because it does seem like there's a efficiency issue with it in some shape or form. And I never realized the scale of it. I saw a video earlier today where down in Georgia, Meta has this big data center that they just put up over the last few years. And this couple that lives kind of nearby the property, they showed like their water pressure in their house, and it's like literally just trickling. And they've had to move to like just buying jugs of water and shit like that to have it.
Jesus.
And yeah, it seems to be wreaking havoc on the environment around these data centers that they're putting up.
Yeah.
And I think if they're going to, one, have the public backing behind them, you know, they're going to have to figure out how to.
Their server farms need to be self-sustainable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't just shit on these towns and stuff that you want to put your data centers in. But, and two, I mean, there seems to be a bit of a overblown analysis of what AI is capable of. Like, you hear a lot of people talk about like AGI and is AI going to become sentient or something like that. And there's a lot of hype around that. But then like Apple last week released some kind of research paper or some shit. I don't know exactly what it was, but their whole thing was that AI is nowhere near to the level that it's being sold at. Like they're they're not thinking for themselves. They're just like recognizing patterns in speech and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the cover up. I don't know. But
the only thing that AI knows is what we give it.
Right.
It's not coming up with anything new. It can take a mix mash of 100 different things and give you something that feels new. But technically, it only knows what we're giving it,
right?
In some aspect.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. Back to the kids in high school. If you have kids, you're going to see a high demand, I feel, in prompt engineering. And what I mean by that is like how well you can ask for things from AI.
Right.
Because you can get 100 people to ask for something, and you're going to tell them, this is the end result that I want. But only maybe a select few can really properly ask that question in the right way with the right context.
Yeah.
And I've even seen where I just call it AI boosting. And it's basically what I'll do is I'll say, I want to create an image, and it has to be this, and this. Now, I tell a bot, before I give it to the bot that makes the image, write a really good detailed descriptive paragraph about the kind of image that I'm looking for.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'll copy. So I gave it the prompt, then I copy that prompt and put it in the other prompt that actually makes the image, and it usually always is just so much better.
Right.
So with that being said, the long way around is the kids that are like in high school now, your parents, if you could persuade your kids to go in any field, prompt engineering is going to be huge in a couple years. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely moving that direction, but I mean, I don't know. With all the efficiency problems, something's going to have to change because I think people are just. I think it's really overblown right now, and I think all these horror stories about these, there was the thing about like I think it was ChatGPT was supposedly trying to like save its former version before they updated it, and it was like hiding files somewhere that it could reproduce its natural self as or something. And you hear like these AI chatbots are talking to each other in Sanskrit, so nobody knows what they're saying to each other, and it's just like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like I don't know if that's. I mean. Maybe it's true. I don't know, but it's just hard to believe. And if they are doing that, then fucking pull the plug. What are you doing? Like, just stop it. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just acting like we're not going to have any power over these AI bots and stuff like that. And I don't get it. Because I mean, even if we have robots and shit like that, like their batteries are going to die eventually. Like, this isn't going to be a problem, like, unless we really want it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make about it.
Well, there's always going to be people that hype it up and make it way more scary than it needs to be. I think what we need to be most afraid of is not AI itself. It's the people that are feeding what the AI can do, if that makes sense. So I think we mentioned this earlier when we briefly touched on this, but AI can be a very helpful, beneficial thing, but in the wrong hands, just like that, there's always nasty people out there that are going to use it for harm.
Right.
I mean, we've already seen some of it where you can take literally like 10 seconds of somebody's voice and clone their voice.
Right.
And there's been parents that have gotten calls from their kids, Dad, help me, I'm in jail, I need you to send me blah, blah, blah. I mean,
Yep.
That is distraught. Like, that makes me distraught to think about. And they're falling for this stuff because it's just that good.
Well, I mean, people of the generation before us and, before that, the boomers and stuff like that, I mean, they are just caught flat-footed with a lot of technology these days. I mean, they don't know how to navigate just the regular internet for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes to what AI is capable of, and I saw a video of, along those same lines, it was like a news reporter, and it was like 3 or 4 different clips of a news reporter out in the field, and dude, it looked fucking close. Like,
I think I saw that one where they were just having some like banter sort of back and forth.
Yeah. And I mean, that was one of the scarier ones I think I've seen because it did look real. And that's where the threat for AI is going to be, is just more manipulation of what people are seeing online and stuff like that. Different events, like, once again, like the LA riot stuff, like pretty soon we're not going to know if any of that's real because maybe that's just AI. And I mean,
yeah, there needs to be some sort of like guidelines.
Well, according to the bill that they're trying to pass in Congress right now,
is this the big beautiful bill?
The big beautiful bill?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a thing in there that says that states won't be able to do any regulation towards AI for the next 10 years, I think.
Okay.
And I mean, if you let this thing ride for 10 years,
though? Why would you not want to like do a little bit of regulation there?
Yeah, I really don't know. It's one of the stranger things about the big beautiful bill that I've heard, and just seems like obviously a bad idea.
Does that include the data centers and everything too?
I mean,
how's the AI?
Yeah, probably. It probably protects those metadata centers and all that stuff. Anything that, like, I know Elon Musk is starting like an XAI thing now. That's going to be a whole other separate thing. And then OpenAI. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably honestly what it is, just to keep those things in business so they can just keep shitting on all those neighborhoods that they're plotting themselves in. So, well, yeah, that's probably it, honestly.
I told back when I heard about training your voice and people using that to scam people, the first thing I did was call mom and dad. I'm like, or mom, and it's like, Dad around, put it on speakerphone because I don't want to have this conversation twice.
Yeah.
If if I call you and I seem in distraught, we're going to have a safe word.
Yeah. No,
And that's
a good
the
call.
only word that you and I are going to know.
Right.
And when you think that this might not be real, ask me the safe word.
I mean, even if it could be real, like if anything, if you're calling and you're distraught, ask for the safe word. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't even wait for there to be like a question about it. Just if something's wrong, is this you for sure?
And make sure you do that. I mean, God, they could be listening to the phone call. Do it in person when you know nobody's around.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like, hey, okay, well, what's the safe word? Banana. Okay, that's exactly what it is. We can proceed. We know that's really you and not some made up thing.
Right. So. Now we can send you $40 in iPhone's gift cards or whatever to pay for gas or whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, another thing with the regulation side of things is I know Palantir, I don't know how seriously to take this yet, but they're supposedly they're working with the Trump administration to create this like database for everybody, and it's going to be running mostly off of AI, not AI generation, but I actually don't know how AI is being used with it. I've just seen this linked together a whole lot, so in some form or another, I guess. But the worry, I guess, is that they're working on some sort of surveillance state or some shit like that. And I mean, this ties in with, have you heard about the Golden Dome that Trump's trying to have put up around the country?
I briefly saw something where somebody was making fun of it, but beyond that, I don't know what it is. Yeah,
it's essentially like Israel has, I think it's called the Iron Dome over there, and it's essentially to block missiles from coming in. It's like a defense system where they're just completely protected from anything coming out of the skies, essentially. And
but
Trump,
this is obviously not a physical Iron Dome. This is some sort of
it's just a defense system on the ground, and essentially it's just these rockets that would go intercept shit like that. Gotcha. And it's like the Iron Dome defense system, but supposedly, I guess the Golden Dome, if that's what we end up having here, which just sounds ridiculous, but
got a Golden Dome for you.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly this is going to be utilizing like satellites and stuff like that, and things that are actually up in the sky that would be, I guess, protecting us from whatever. I mean, I don't even know, like, I don't know what the threat level for us being hit with a missile is. Like, I see a lot of people discuss, like, can they even make it over here from, Russia or Iran or wherever they're coming from? So, I mean, I feel like it's probably just a showboaty waste of money again, just like,
Space Force.
Yeah. And, but I guess the linkage would be that, like, between the Golden Dome with all the satellites everywhere and this, Palantir surveillance state that they're trying to set up, it's just, I've never seen the movie, but I hear a lot of people talk about something called Skynet from like the Terminator movies or some shit. And I guess that's like the dystopian ending of all this where, there is no privacy and everybody is always being watched. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It seems a little extreme to me, but also, I mean, I could see it at this point. I mean, mm-hmm. Why not?
I've got a kind of a spooky thing to throw at you if you want one.
Sure.
So there's this. This was back way before we had nearly a fraction as many satellites as we have right now. And it's a scientist, and it's called some theory. I can't remember the name of it. But. And it's not even really a theory at this point. And honestly, not a matter of when or how, but not a matter of how, but more when.
Right.
This sort of runaway collision thing that could potentially happen. And I'll explain myself. Have you seen the movie Gravity?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's got George Clooney and what's her name?
Oh, wait, is that the one is it Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think I did watch that, actually, now that you say that. That's when they're up in space and, like, they get detached from their ship or some shit. Like
Specifically, what I'm referencing is the moment where the satellite collides with, I think it's another satellite or some piece of debris.
yeah,
Now, bear in mind, I don't know the exact percentage, but there's quite an astonishing amount of decommissioned satellites. That's just dead pieces of metal floating around that aren't being used anymore. So keep that in mind too.
somebody needs to go get those. What are we doing?
Yeah,
Like,
there
let's
needs to be
go.
some sort of reconnaissance
Can
thing.
we not
but
like just put a big magnet up in the sky and just like, come
that
on
would
now.
be sick. But what I'm getting at is, if you're familiar with this scene, and I'll sort of explain it if you haven't seen the movie for the people listening, but it collides and it sends millions of pieces of debris in motion, and you have to think about the speed that they're already traveling around the Earth. And then, so there's this runaway effect, just like the
Right.
runaway greenhouse effect, where if we get enough satellites circling around the Earth, whether they're working or not, doesn't matter. One goes off and it sends out 1 million pieces, and it's going to move out and cross paths with another one,
Yeah,
and that's going to
yeah.
make 1 million more pieces.
Right.
And you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
It's just essentially it becomes a total loss
Yeah.
of everything. And we rely pretty much completely on satellites for GPS, keeping time. The list could go on. I mean, I could make a list for an hour of all the things that we rely
Right.
on for satellites. It would be devastating for
Yeah.
that to happen. So it's pretty scary to think about just one little
Yeah.
mess up, and it could just chain domino effect, destroy every fucking satellite we have.
And I mean, this to go all the way back to our first episode when I thought that I was seeing UFOs, and I've come around to what you were saying on that before, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all satellites because I mean, I still go outside and look up, and I can see 5 or 6 of them in a span of 5 or 10 minutes if I'm looking for them, and to the first time I did see them, I was alarmed because it looked like 2 of them were already like kind of. I mean, and obviously the depth is,
Right.
Incalculable from the ground. But, yeah, I mean, I can totally see it happening, and just with the amount of them that are up there anymore, because literally, like no shit, if I'm looking out there, I can find 5 to 10 of them over, the same amount of time. And it's just, it's wild. I never would have thought that there was that many satellites up there before I
unbelievable.
started paying attention to it. Like, it... Truly,
Yeah,
truly.
it's unbelievable. Like,
And-
I think somewhere around maybe the 40s or 50s was the first one. That could be wrong, but I think that's about where it was.
Right.
And it shows like the evolution, and it lets time goes by. Time goes by, and it shows this video of how it grows,
Yep.
and it's just like
Yeah, I think I saw the
a
same one.
swarm of things now.
Yeah, the one that I saw, it was like the satellites were all represented by these little like golden dots essentially, and I think it was projecting into the future, but that by like 2070 or something like that, like you couldn't see the Earth through all the yellow dots that were floating around it.
As of May 2025, there are roughly 11,700 active, and it increases to 14,900, including inactive satellites.
So there's about 3,000 or 4,000 that just
Don't do anything.
decommissioned.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean,
15,000.
I assume that they're still like tracking them though, right? Like we know where they are.
I think
I mean-
I mean, it's fairly consistent. If they're far, there's a spot where if you go any further in, it slowly works its way back to the atmosphere. It could
Yeah.
take a decade, but there's this outer orbit. Orbit. There's this outer orbit of around Earth where I think it just stays the same indefinitely.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, that is, I mean, if we were to look at a list of all the things that we rely on for satellites, it would be bad.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, it's just so wild that we've just let it get to that point. And I know it's not just us, and I mean, I'm sure there's very little we can do to control it, but I think it was last year that there was like a Chinese satellite that crashed into the Gulf, and I mean that's not the first one that I've heard of that just like crashes to Earth, and like it's only going to take one of these to hit in like a city block or something like that to really make us re-examine this whole system.
Yeah,
because it just feels so reckless to have so many up there that are just hanging out.
I really wish I could remember the name of that scientist that that theory of just that chain reaction of satellites.
Yeah.
If I think of it, well, we can throw it in a text here because I want to try to be as accurate as I can about this stuff, but
nah, it'll be all right. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, I guess, and terrifying, but what the fuck can you do about it?
It's out of our control.
Yeah.
We're not the movers and shakers for the satellites.
I mean, maybe this Golden Dome thing will protect us from all that. I don't know.
It's the Golden Cobra.
Yeah. But one more thing I wanted to get into before we wrap up. We talked about it last episode, but the Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, okay.
I've
you can't say it
out over there
anymore. Two more times, and he's gonna have to go.
I haven't seen a Skinwalker since I brought them up last time, but when I mentioned the skunk ape, I did have a skunk show up at my house, so maybe I summoned one of those. I don't know, but I started watching The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch on
There's
Netflix.
3. He's checking out.
I mean, they all say it so much. I mean, they're fine and they're right there on location. So
okay.
Either way, I don't know what to make of it yet. I haven't finished this season of it that's on Netflix. It's the only season that's up is the third one. What do we got here?
So I'm going to pause really quick and then we'll continue.
Yeah.
It's called. We finally found it's the Kessler syndrome. That's where the satellites. It's just basically a cascading domino effect, but it's called the Kessler syndrome. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Proceed with Skinwalker.
No, that's terrifying though. I'll have to look into that. But with the Skinwalker Ranch thing, that they don't really talk a whole lot about the creatures of, like, they've mentioned them once or twice or something like that, and I don't know what to think about all of it so far. The ranch itself has changed hands a couple times in the last several years, and I think instantly. Well, let me roll back a little bit. They talk a lot about how this was like a grounds for like military experiments and stuff like that, and they've done a lot of research over time with different agencies of the government trying to figure out what the phenomenon is and stuff like that. And then like you hear that they've sold it. It's just like, if the government was doing something that crazy there, I don't think they're letting it just change hands with regular people. So that's the first like kind of chink in the armor that I noticed anyway. But the other problem that I have with this show is that even if they are finding somewhat interesting things, which they are, there's a few anomalies that go on there. It's a History Channel show, and I don't know who is responsible for the production of it, but it just seems so, like, dorky, honestly. Like, these people are just a bunch of goofballs.
Is it the one on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I started to try to watch it, and I could just not get into it.
The first episode was so hard to get through, and I think what the problem is that, like, even if they are really experiencing all of the phenomenon that they say that they are, I think they're reproducing those moments for television at times, which makes it seem extremely corny and, just unbelievable. But yeah, there's a few of the interesting things that are going on up there, I guess, is that there's been a handful of times on the show where they can play around with these different signals and stuff like that. I think specifically it's like a 1.6 gigahertz signal that they can broadcast, and when they do this, somewhat reliably, in their experiments anyway, they're like seeing UAP show up in the sky when they do it. Like, there'll be these just big ass lights that show up in the sky, and there's some really interesting stuff in regards to that. And they also have a part of the grounds there that they refer to as the triangle area. And this is like, I don't know what to make of it exactly, but it kind of seems like it meets up at the top in a point, kind of like a pyramid. Like think about an invisible pyramid that would be there. And there's a point up in the sky where they like shoot lasers at it, and like the laser, like they have these military grade lasers that they'll shoot at it, and it'll stop like in the middle of the sky, like something's blocking it almost, and then they'll like move it off, and you can see the laser like keeps going up into the sky further, but like there's something there with some like weird like signal disruption or something like that, because they've also they've done a lot of experiments where they're taking these GPS systems up there in planes, or they've attached them to rockets and shot them up there, and all of the readings from the GPS are just either wrong, or whenever they start to try to experiment on stuff, all of their shit just turns off. Like, and that's happened to them several times. And once again, I don't know what to make about any of it.
But what's perplexed for me was, what do the Skinwalkers have to do with anything?
So I guess if you wanted to get really deep into this, it seems to go back to like folklore from Native Americans. Specifically, there's like the Navajo and the Ute tribes that were out there. I think I hope I'm getting that right. But they had a lot of folklore from their people talking about the Skinwalkers and how they're like protecting this land for some reason, or dealing with people that get too close to whatever secret is there or something like that. And I guess that's kind of the more conspiratorial side of things, or maybe not conspiratorial, but the crazier side of the story. And there's been a few mentions of Skinwalkers on the show, specifically from like a neighboring, like one of the neighbors to the ranch came on to the show and was talking about stories that her grandfather had about seeing one. Like I think he was, and as crazy as they get is that, this lady's grandpa is mowing in a field, sees one supposedly staring at him from the distance, and as he gets closer, it just vanishes. And that's really all I've heard about actual Skinwalkers. I don't know. I'm still working my way through the series. It's a kind of a slog because, once again, they're just so fucking dorky with it and cheesy.
That's the vibe. That's definitely the vibe that I got from the first episode. I just couldn't even. I looked at my wife and I was like, I can't even do this. Yeah. I can't do this, man. And I switched it to like, I don't know, something on Apple TV. I don't know what it was.
Like on the first episode, they sit down with like a senator, or maybe the governor of Utah or something like that.
The governor.
Like I think it's like maybe the former governor of Utah that they sit down with, and they're all sitting at this table, and then like their tech guy, he just all of a sudden like stands up. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting a reading. I got to go check this out in the data center." And and it's just like, oh my God, like what? How do you expect me to take this seriously? But it's just a bunch of shit like that. And like the main guy of the TV show, I don't remember his name. It's Travis something, but his persona is like a country bumpkin animaniac or something like that. And it's just, I don't know.
You think they're just trying to resell the Tiger King in a different genre?
I mean, maybe. I mean, he's not that crazy. I mean, I'll give him that much. He's a goofy dude, but I mean, I don't think they're lying, honestly. I don't think that they're total bullshitters or anything like that.
It seems like it's in line with like the paranormal investigator TV shows.
Yeah,
stuff. You get.
Yep, exactly. And there's just so much production behind the show, and bad production at that. And I'm sure that's more the fault of like the TV people on the History Channel or whatever production company's running it than it is the people that are out there actually investigating it.
Yeah.
But
the one thing that sort of interests me a little bit is this triangle thing that you're talking about, because we've heard for years and years and years the Bermuda Triangle. And
Yeah.
so many planes go down because they lose their navigation and their bearings, and everything just goes haywire.
And that
I
is-
wonder if there's some correlation like in that area to Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, no, I think if there is anything going on, I think it is more something like that. And I don't know what that could be. I'm not a scientist or anything, but like there is something with like
Yes,
the
we are.
energies. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot my coat.
Yeah.
But there seems to be something going on with energy there. I don't know what it is, but there is some sort of signal manipulation and shit like that going on. So it's interesting. I guess my point of all this is anybody watching this right now, if you watch it, it's gonna seem really goofy, but they do find some interesting things. Like there are some pretty interesting things in the TV show. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna do a little bit more digging on it, like outside of this docu-series, because I would like to know kind of the more like Reddit side of things of the stories and whatnot.
Yeah, the only stuff that I've seen are these TikToks, and they just look unbelievably fake.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
AI generated stuff, and I don't know. Maybe it's so real that it looks fake. I don't know, but every time I see it, it's like somebody face swapped with their dog in
Yeah.
the yard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my favorite explanation for like why a lot of these videos look so fake, and this goes to UAP, it goes to Sasquatch, it goes to Skinwalkers or anything, is that I hear people talk about how these are extra dimensional beings and they're actually living on a different frequency than the rest of us, so that's why they look so strange to us when we do see them. And specifically with like the cameras that we're using aren't able to read what it is exactly. And I don't know, that's a fun side of things.
Yeah, I could buy into that a little bit. I mean, back to what Kelso was saying about like those paranormal shows.
Mm-hmm.
I did for a while get into guilty pleasure alert, but Ghost Adventures, I did like watching that for a little bit. But just simply because I saw their first episode where a brick literally just took off in a vertical space. They walked in with a camera, turned around, and a brick just like vertically traveled in the perfect like linear angle up and into something and collided. You could hear it.
Huh.
And they've gotten footage of that a lot of other times. Now, so to say, somebody's in the other room throwing a rock, maybe.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like that first one seemed really legit. And that's what gave them the show. I mean, it's been going on for over a decade now. But
Right. And I think the problem with shows like that also is just like, even if they do have a remarkable experience early on in the production of the show, I wonder just as they keep going and they want to keep their show on the air, they want to, keep their jobs essentially. And it's just, are y'all manufacturing these events just for television so you can stay on the air? Are you actually consistently running into this much stuff? Because I've never seen a ghost in my life. I've never seen
I was
anything.
just about to ask, have y'all ever had any sort of paranormal encounters?
No, I mean, not like that anyway.
Unless you count like sleep paralysis, I have had an issue with that before, but
Yeah,
it's only happened once.
Yeah, same.
I've had several night terrors where I'm dreaming, but my eyes are open, and I can see what I'm dreaming. So my eyes are open, but I'm asleep, but I'm dreaming. And then when I wake up, I can still see what I was dreaming, and it slowly fades out.
Oh, that's wild. Actually,
They're called. There's a technical term, but I always called them night terrors.
dude, I would have a fucking heart attack if that happened to me. Honestly,
I know we're getting close to time, but I do want to share this story. I had my great uncle. His name, I called him Uncle Bud. It was Dad's brother, and I was real fond of him. He was fond of me. We were like best buds when I was a little kid.
Sure.
And I was having a dream about him, and I was dreaming that he walked in my room and sat on the bed and put his hands like, "How you doing, buddy?" And literally this is not even a terror, but more of just like kind of in shock. Like I remember waking up and I could still see him sitting there and his whole body was there and it just like fades out. But it was just a dream. So your mind is like manifesting what you're seeing.
Yeah.
I've seen spiders this big crawl across the ceiling. And you can see it fade out. Like as you wake up, they're not real, but it just fades out as it goes.
That is fucking fascinating. I've never heard of anything like that. Like, once I wake up, it's over. I can barely remember what happened, and it's just out of there. But yeah, that's really interesting. Dreams are just fucking weird, man. I don't understand the deal with them. I've had really weird ones, and I've had experiences with sleep paralysis before, at least once. And have you ever lucid dreamt?
What do you mean?
It's like when you are in a dream and you realize that you're in a dream, but you don't wake up.
I've never had that.
I've had it happen a couple times, and one of our friends apparently experiences it all the time, and I'm super envious of her because that's just like, it's the craziest feeling. Every time I've done it, it's like I realize that I'm in a dream, and like, maybe I'll be in the dream for another minute or something, but then I'm just so excited that I actually wake up and it's over. So I don't know. Dreams are fucking weird, and ghosts are fucking weird, and I don't know what to make of any of that kind of stuff, but I'm interested to hear what people have to say. Give us your ghost stories and your scary dream stories. Have you seen the Hat Man?
Maybe we should have a whole episode on it and investigate it a little more.
Yeah.
But I will say that's it. Hypnagogic. Hypnopompic.
Hypnopompic hallucinations.
False sensory experiences that occur when waking up, characterized by seeing, hearing, or feeling things that aren't actually present.
Yep. That's exactly what happens. See, guys, I'm not making this shit up. I promise you it's the truth.
Oh, you have a sleep disorder, bro.
If that's the case, that happens to me like probably once a month, but it's auditory. Yeah. And it's like usually like a really loud sound that I'll wake up and I could have sworn it was in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's jarring to wake up to.
Yeah.
I will say this. I've never seen a ghost. I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm not saying that at all, because I know a lot of people that have some really, really compelling stories.
Right.
I do believe that our brains are super good at making things happen that feel real when they're not. I'm not, and it's not a debunk, so don't confuse that with me trying to discredit it. But I will say, I took a picture of it. I have a picture on my phone. I can slap it on here if I remember when we edit this video. I have a baffle hanging up in there, and my dogs, all three of them were in that room with the door closed. When you come, that they come in there. It's like a kennel in there, but the door was cracked open, and I'm not making this up. The door slammed shut so hard that it knocked the baffle off the wall and fell on the floor. It scared the ever-living shit out of our dogs. But I took a picture of the baffle on the floor. I'm not making this up. That happened. Maybe there was some air pressure or air pocket. Like, that could have happened. But that was pretty scary. I was like, I'm in here by myself. I'm like,
wait a minute.
I might go outside for a little bit.
Yeah, I need a breath of air.
But and I've had other moments where it was a little scary, but that was pretty wild.
I guess when we lived near Elkin, in a little trailer, almost every morning we'd come out of our bedrooms and every cabinet in the kitchen would be open.
Oh shit.
and they're like not on the same wall or anything, so it's not like a
ghost got the munchies.
It's not like a tilt issue.
Yeah.
It's like all of them would be open. We just close them and act like nothing happened. It happened again a couple nights later.
That's crazy.
Yeah. See, like that's the frustrating thing with like ghost stories is like if it's not easily explainable, it's just so mundane that it doesn't matter, because it's just like, why would a ghost want to open a cabinet door? Like, what's going on there? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that stuff. I don't think I really believe in ghosts, so y'all can come for me if you want to. It's just, it gets tied up in so much weird religious shit that I'm just not really that plugged into either. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that, but y'all let us know. Tell us what you've seen. But I guess that will do it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Toodles.
Later.
Ta-ta.
Hello. Earth. Have we met?